The nature of the question is, what are the key, grounds level things that people really need to know in order to be useful? And since you asked the question, I'll let you start.
From an audio perspective.
Yeah.
Phase is a huge one. They need to be able to listen to something and know because we make microphones, people solder things wrong. I need you to listen to that. Is it out of phase? Is it wired out of phase? And when you're doing because we physically, we actually listen to every single microphone. They need to know. If it sounds like, wait a minute, that proximity doesn't sound quite right, whatever it is, and you flip the phase, like, wait, oh, I see. So that's huge. Phase, I think, is it. And I think that goes across the board for a lot of engineers in the studio. Is phase is
How do you teach them to recognize that?
Just listening.
Just listen and say, this is out of phase.
In a headphone, your left and right will sound different. When you get used to what the microphone sounds like, you've heard it 100 times. We've made 100 of these. I
learned by just listening,
of
course. But I thought that you were probably.
Oh, we can look on a machine. You can look at the curve on and that kind of thing too. But for a quick test or whatever it is, when you're doing a quick blah 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 blah, we're going through 50 of these things. You need to know right away if that needs to go back on the bench.
In your instance, I'm assuming that you're talking mostly about 180 out of phase.
Yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily degrees.
No, not but I'm talking. 180 degrees out of phase kind of thing. Second thing, some basic troubleshooting. Ground noise. Yeah. There's a hum.
Yes.
Track it down.
Being able to track it down and being comfortable with that, that kind of thing. So using a multimeter, even, and it's pretty easy. It's touching 2 points, and it goes beep or it doesn't go beep. It goes grounded. It's things like that. It seems like people are forgetting these tools. Yeah. Every single one of them. They should have a thing in their back pocket that has a ground. Because I can tell you what could ruin a session more is spending an hour trying to chase that ground loop. And like, somebody plugged in a fan in the other room. You never know what it would be.
Or phone is somehow giving some interferences.
Right. Yeah. And lastly, coming in fresh. I mean, when you walk in my door, I don't want hungover. I've had plenty of my late nights and all that kind of stuff, but be ready to work. Especially if you're an intern, you better be on it. Yeah. Take notes, take whatever it is, pen and paper. I don't care if you're typing on your iPhone taking notes, but just be fresh, ready to learn.
And humble. Because you may know some stuff from doing stuff in your home or coming to school. Right. But when you're going as an intern, don't try to overstep the boss or anybody involved in there, because you want to be, like you say, likable.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's very important that you give a good impression that you're there to be the solving problem guy, not the problem guy. Right. And so that's very important.
Yeah, and it doesn't, when I say, don't come in, hungover or whatever, but don't stay up till 3 a.m. watching TV and streaming videos or whatever. Get 7 hours, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Some people need 5, some people need 8, whatever it is, get that. Yeah.
Smelling fresh too works.
Well,
You know what? Minimize the importance of that right there, man. We're in a room with no windows or doors.
That's
right.
You are not kidding.
Well, I had artists in that condition, and I didn't know how to. If I wanted to make it to the pharmacy,
that makes for a long day.
Yeah.
But that's huge. You're in a control room with 3 other guys all day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the lower guy on the level, the producer's going to be like, dude, get out, go take a shower.
Yeah.
You're not going to last.
Yeah, it's like being in a space capsule on a moon mission or something. Sometimes, a day in the studio.
Yeah.
But on the other spectrum, don't sprit yourself with 10 sprays of cologne either.
Exactly. Then you smell bad and you smell like cologne. I also think that they should be prepared to be, like when they're starting out, to be quiet, and not feel like they have to do anything, because, sometimes we didn't have any interns come into Open Path because it would be like, well, do you know how to wrap a cable? No, well, I could show you how to wrap a cable. Okay, but that's going to take me more time than if I just
They ought
wrap
to
the
know how
cable.
to route a cable before they walk in that
Yeah.
door, right?
And,
if you guys aren't
you know-
teaching that, you're in
yeah,
trouble.
yeah. So there's an orientation period where they can just hang out and just watch stuff happen.
Well, I think that is sort of like the school should give to the intern. I mean, the future interns is learn the basics of
Just-
the operating.
This should be
part.
like here's your 12-step
Yeah.
Exactly.
turn before
Yes.
before we're gonna send you off somewhere. These are the 12 things
You
Studio
should
adequacy.
know. Yeah, you should know this. You should know
You can pass this, we'll send you
signal
out.
path. You
Yeah.
should know. All these principles that
How to create a session.
how to create a session.
Can you make coffee?
yeah,
You know,
good,
I
good
mean,
coffee.
Yeah. There's the kitchen. Can you go in there and make coffee? I bet you a lot of kids are going to say, "Oh, I don't drink coffee. I've never made it. I
That's
wouldn't know
probably
how
true.
to do it."
That's not bad. I go to Starbucks. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's an excellent
that's a
point.
good one.
That's a really good
That
one.
is one. Yeah.
You go to Bernie Grundman Mastering in L.A.
Yeah.
He's the number 2 guy, comes in with the espresso, and they ask you how you want it prepared.
Yeah.
That's high class, man.
They didn't do that for us.
They didn't?
But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, for me, it's just somebody that can observe because creating a session, they can be taught that just by watching. If you're observant, I mean, if you're going to be in a session helping me, if I have to tell you how to do it, I might as well do it myself. Just like you said, it's quicker and easier to do. But also, if you start watching and you're on a few sessions and you see how things are flowing and you can adapt to that flow, the best hand I can have is somebody that knows what I'm going to do before I do it. Standing over there by the patch bay has figured out how the patch bay is labeled and is waiting for me to say, "Oh, patch this in like this," and don't have to ask me how to do it and just do it. And like I said, a lot of it, I mean, to some extent, you have to get some direction on how to learn a patch bay because each patch bay is slightly different and where things are and how they're labeled. But once you get that down, it's all about observing what's going on and anticipating the next move. So instead of you being on one end of the room and me having to tell you, "Hey, go over there and patch this in," just for the fact that you're standing right next to the patch bay and you're 2 feet closer than I am, is going to be a huge difference and be so much more helpful to me. So just being that observing what's going on and just being quiet and watching.
That's a lot of how we learn. Young children in a family situation are observing their parents all the time, and a lot of stuff they learn, is not spoken and doesn't need to be. And sometimes that's the best way to just internalize that. So
It's a dynamic.